Hi, good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? Good. My name is Craig Byrum, and I'm Director of Philanthropy with the Hospice and Palliative Nurses Foundation.
And I'm Christine Kubicky. I'm the Development Assistant for the Hospice and Palliative Nurses Foundation. And today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about applying for scholarships. Here we go. So in 2017, we were very fortunate. A lot of our champions stepped up, and we were able to offer over 130 scholarships to the hospice and palliative nurses. So a few of the scholarships that we were able to award were educational scholarships, conferences, certification, the chapter education and research grants, as well as the leadership awards like PDIA, Project of Death in America. One of the most exciting changes that we had for the conferences this year is that before, you used to have to pay ahead for your registration, and then you would get reimbursed for travel and maybe some of your registration. This year, for 2017, we actually were approved. If you were awarded as a recipient of a conference scholarship, you were sent a promo code, so you didn't have to pay for your registration up front. Moving forward in 2017, that will also be the case with the Clinical Practice Forum Scholarship, and moving into 2018 again with the Annual Assembly Scholarship. The way it works is when you send your scholarship committees in, and some of the things that we're going to touch on today, or when you send your applications in, we'll talk about review committees, and we'll discuss how they score, what they use, what they're looking for. So the one opportunity that I want to talk about today is the Chapter Education Grant Scholarship. What we're going to talk about is the eligibility requirements, the identifying information and project description, the dreaded essay, the budget, and also the SMART objective. So the eligibility requirements for a chapter education grant. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go to our website, and you want to pull up and see what the eligibility requirements are for the chapter education grant. They are to be chartered and in good standing, to send us a proposal for a chapter project that benefits your entire chapter or the expansion of your membership, and that you've received no more than 2 grants within any 5-year period. Now, a lot of people will call me and say, well, I received an individual education scholarship. Can my chapter still? Yes. It's the chapter education grant only that you can receive no more than 2 grants in a 5-year period. So we'll move on to identifying education. And if you want to take a look at your applications, you'll notice on that very first page all of the questions that are on there. Please answer all your questions. Be complete in your responses, be accurate, and if you're not typing, please write neat and legibly so they can read it and they're not giving me a call saying, what do you think they meant by this? And on to the essay. The essay requirements are a minimum of 500 words to a maximum of 3 pages, single-spaced using a 10-point font. And if you look midway down that first page, there's a little section, and it says project description. That information is right under project description. Your essay influences your review committee. So you want to utilize your project description box and check off as you're reviewing your application. Use that project description as your checkoff list. Does your essay contain all of the bullet points in detail? Your project should let the review committee know who, what, when, where, and how. What's the purpose of your project? The impact your project will have on your membership or your community? And how will you know when your project is complete? You want to address the stated purpose and the criteria for funding. Be direct and clear about all funds, used or unused. And if you think that you're going to go over that 3-page maximum, put your budget on a separate sheet. It's okay. You can submit your budget separately. One thing that always gets called on is proper grammar, spelling, and misuse of not full sentences. So you want to be very careful with that essay. For your budgets, you want to include your projected expenses, your projected revenues and their impact. Identify any outside vendors that you may be getting additional funds from. And as far as inclusion detail, if it's in your essay, it should be in your budget. So many times we'll read through an essay and somebody will write, we're going to market with flyers. But if you look at the budget, there's no information on where are you doing your flyers, how much are flyers going to cost you, how are you going to market with those flyers? Are you going to pay somebody to pass them out, or we have no idea, and neither will your review committee. So make sure that information, if it's in your essay, it's in your budget. One thing that we always ask the reviewers to consider if they're looking at a scoring rubric, which you also have a copy of the scoring rubric behind your application grants, is to consider a SMART objective: specific, measurable, achievable, responsible, and time-related. For specific, a specific area for action. In your essay, all the details regarding your project. Measurable. You want to quantify or at least suggest an indicator of your project. What is your objective? What is your end goal of your project? Achievable. State how and what results can realistically be achieved. Is your project reality-based? Really take a good look at your budget around that time. Is your project actually doable? Responsible. Describe who will do what, how, and when. And time-related. Specify how and when you will know when the project has met its objective. A lot of reviewers like to see a timeline. And I know when you look at budget and you think timeline and all that detail that needs to be included, it is a lot of detail, you're right, but it can be done in a simple format. I received some of the most just beautiful, clean, simple, inserted tables that somebody has created their budget in or their timeline in. So it can just be a very simple format, but it'll include that good amount of detail that you put into it. So what does a successful submission contain? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. I'm so used to having the little advancers. There we go. So we're on review committees. Here we go. So once you've put all your work into your application and you've sent it off to HPNF, the next step on our part is that we form a review committee. And I look around the room and I see many of you, and I'm thankful for many of you that have volunteered to be on review committees. Review committees are comprised of 3 people, members of HPNA, HPCC, and volunteers. Review committee members are chosen because they possibly work in that field, or they've been past recipients and they have years of experience and knowledge within that field. Most of the time, the review committee members only know one another by first name and last initial. Each committee member will complete his or her own scoring rubric. They'll send that information back to the national office and we create a summary. And that summary is discussed and used while the committee meets via teleconference to view the applications together. And if you want to take a look at your scoring rubric right now, your scoring rubric is behind your application. You'll see at the very top of the scoring rubric those eligibility requirements that we discussed earlier today on the website. They're right on top of that scoring rubric. The SMART objective is there. And if you'll notice, each point-based section mirrors the project description on the application. So section 1 will mirror the very first bullet point under your project description. So everything that you're being asked to submit, that's exactly what you're being scored upon. So now, successful submissions. You want to review and meet the eligibility criteria before you begin. You want to utilize the project description for your essay and your budget. You want to double check your spelling, your grammar, complete sentences, and presentation. You want to submit a complete and detailed budget, and especially adhere to deadlines. And as always, for those of you who have been recipients, I think every email or communication I send to you, I say, please reach out to me with any questions at any time, whether for this scholarship or another scholarship. I am here to help you. We'd love to give these scholarships away. So again, please reach out to me at any time. I'll put a few of my business cards around. And I want to give Craig the opportunity today to discuss a little bit about HPNF, since that's who supports the scholarships that we are able to offer to you. So I'll introduce Craig Byrum.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. That's great. Yeah, thanks again for being here. And again, as Christine just said, we are the Hospice and Palliative Nurses Foundation. We're kind of unique from HPNA and HPCC, if you didn't already realize. We're a charitable organization. So we're classified as a 501c3. Am I getting scratchy? Sorry about that. That's okay, I'll talk loud. Can you hear me back there? We're a 501c3 organization. So like any other charity, how many people have made a contribution to a charity or worked as a volunteer? Quite a few. So that's essentially our status. And we happen to be able to provide these opportunities that Christine discussed. So that's kind of our mission, is to provide scholarships, grants, and awards for professional development. HPNF also supports major initiatives of HPNA and HPCC. So we're involved in a number of ways in advancing the profession of hospice and palliative nurses, providing opportunities for hospice and palliative nurses, as well as other members of the interdisciplinary team. We have a board of directors and a CEO. We encourage volunteer participation, again, coming back to what you may be familiar with from other charitable organizations. We love to have volunteers support us. Christine uses volunteers for her review committees and for other purposes related to what she's just discussed with you. And the other way that you can help HPNF is by offering us contacts. We fundraise actively, obviously, to support our mission. You may have seen some of our fundraising pieces that have reached your inbox, or perhaps a letter by mail, or just been to our website. So we invite any contacts you might have to help us grow our mission, to put us into a relationship with someone that can grow, perhaps a prospective funder that you know about in your area. Those are certainly ways that can be helpful to us as well. Here we go. And this just reviews some of the ways that options for donating to support the charitable mission of HPNF. A lot of chapters support us through contributions from their chapter treasuries. We'll be honoring some of those folks, recognizing some of those chapters that were able to contribute to us in this past fiscal year. We'll be doing that tonight during the dinner, so we'll see you there. We have member giving, individual members that may choose to support us through, again, a charitable contribution, not unlike you would make to another charity. So that's something to watch out for. And we have opportunities frequently to support us, unique programs or campaigns. And in fact, we hear about one tonight. We had an anonymous donor come and offered to give us a charitable gift for $10,000 if we could, in turn, get others to reach a minimum of $10,000 from our membership, from HPCC certificates, and other stakeholders. So perhaps before you leave here, either tonight or tomorrow morning, someone will be here. You might be interested in making a contribution to help us unlock that challenge of 10,000, which will provide funding, important funding, again, tying that back to many of the things that Christine has talked about to support those opportunities. So we'd end up, if we are able to meet our $10,000 minimum that we've been challenged to and unlock the $10,000 charitable grant, we'll have reached a $20,000 fundraising goal, which is huge. So we are grateful for any consideration you might have there. Other opportunities include the Nessa Coyle Leadership Fund. Anyone that went to annual assembly this year that may have attended the lecture, the Nessa Coyle lecture. I wasn't there, unfortunately. Christine was, heard it was a wonderful lecture. That fund, established just in the last couple of years, helps to bring that lecture as part of the annual assembly. So we're really excited about that. We'll continue to grow that fund. You'll hear a little bit more about the lecture, the Nessa Coyle lecture that's going to be in Boston in February tonight during the dinner. We have some giving circles that you may be familiar with other organizations. We have the Florence Walt Fellows, which is really our group that has made a significant investment in the future of HPNF. It's a $10,000 commitment over 5 years to support our programs, to support our charitable mission. So it's another way that can be a very important way to support our future. We talk about legacy giving, planned giving, and some of you think about that. You think, well, I'm going to leave my wealth to my family, obviously beneficiaries. But there's often a way that you can make a significant impact on hospice and palliative nursing care through the foundation by perhaps leaving something in a will to the foundation, a dollar stated amount or perhaps a percentage. It doesn't have to be huge, but we hope that you're around for many years, but maybe down the road that bequest will pay to the foundation some significant funding that can help us with programming for the opportunities that we talked about earlier. And those are the other giving circles. We have the Florence Walt Fellows, but we also have the Builder Circle, which is $1,000 over 3 years. Talked about the Florence Walt Fellows at $10,000 over 5 years. The Builder Circle is $1,000 over 3 years, and the Sustainers is $5,000 over 3 years. So again, if you're interested, feel free. I'll be passing out business cards. You can contact us. If you know someone that might be interested in supporting this, they've had a great experience through hospice and palliative nursing care. We're uniquely there positioned as a charity to help support the profession on a national basis. So we certainly provide recognition to these donors, not only at these levels, giving circles, but also any donation is recognized in our annual report. We'd like to thank all of our donors and each year publish those names so that people are aware of the great support that we receive. We have chapter giving that I talked about earlier. You can see some of the levels there. And you'll hear that as levels discussed tonight as recognition of the giving chapters since last year are made. Again, just some of the ways that you can help us. Spread the word, tell others about us. As you see things come into your inbox, or maybe see something through an HPNF news e-blast, share the word with your colleagues, chapter colleagues, and others. We talked about identifying potential supporters, being a door opener for us. One day you may find someone that really has an interest. I know a lot of the organizations you work for may do their own fundraising, of course, but just to be aware of our, of ways to support our mission as well. We talked about volunteering on a review committee and other ways that you can help with the work Christine described. Encourage others to become an HPNA member. That's a great way to help the organization as a whole, really. So thank you today for helping us by being here in attendance. And we'll just open it for some quick questions now that you might have about the things that Christine discussed, the opportunities for scholarships, grants, and awards, or anything about HPNF in general. Happy to answer those questions.
No
How many
question.
have received an award from HPNF? Got a few hands that go up, or know someone that has received an award? Okay, great. One of the things, and you might see this over the future weeks and months and years, is we like to, when our recipients are in agreement, and you'll get information every once in a while, we like to hear the stories about how that influenced your career, how that really changed the way that you were able to interact with patients, because those are strong testimonials, again, with your permission, for us to share with in our marketing and communications. Those can be very powerful, as you know, from your own stories in your day-to-day careers. So, keep that in mind as well. If you've already done one, or maybe you'll have one in the future, we'd love to hear back from folks who have received support. It's just so powerful to hear often how, it's a transformative process for them, and the excitement they have in being able to be perhaps a little bit better in their career.
HPNF does have its own Facebook page. I think one of our next big goals is to get permission to actually be administrators on that page, so we can pass along more information about upcoming scholarships, highlight recipients that have received scholarships, put in quotes from those recipients, as Craig was just talking about, because that's what we want you to see. If other people can apply for those scholarships, everybody can apply for the scholarships. And I know last year one of the biggest feedback that I received was, the essay is very scary. Really, the essay is not. Call me anytime, call Craig anytime. We will help you and walk you through, and we'll walk you right through, whatever the project description is that's required on your application. We're happy to answer questions for you at any time about that. So, hopefully in the next couple months, you'll start to see a big push on the HPNF Facebook page, and see a little bit more information on there. All right, thank you so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of your time
If you have
today.
any questions, come on up here.